We're going to talk about one of the best bands on this damn planet, and that band is Deftones. I wanted to switch it up and talk about music as well, life-changing music. I mean, granted, the movies that I've been talking about and yapping about, they're not life-changing whatsoever, but they're fun, and they're things that I want to, tell other people about. And this, I wanted to do a little good old flipperoo and switch it up, because music is life-changing. Music is great, and a lot of people kind of ignore music these days because it's not Taylor Swift or it's not Beyonce, there's other music out there, people. Lyrically, there's music that can help people move through bullshit or just even the feels. Like, I'm not a lyric type person. Like, you can sing about like poop on a stick, and I'm just like, hell yeah, as long as it's got a sick ass beat. But this band, I mean, between their lyrics, their music, like everything about them, they're aging like fine wine, I feel, especially live. I just saw them at their Day of the Dead Deftones festival that they do yearly. This is now their 5th year that they have done it. When I got there, I was able to catch Sunny Day Real Estate play Diary album from front to back. So good. Great album. And then Idols, which I never listened to Idols ever before, but now I'm like a fan and I kind of like them. And then Deftones played. It was in grand old San Diego, and it was just really cool to actually like be on like the Padres field, because it was at the Padres Stadium, the Petco Stadium that they have. And it was just really cool. Like, oh, wow, this is cool. Like, and then the Friends and Family Lounge was in the visitors dugout, so you have to like go through the dugout. It was like, it's just cool. It was just a really cool experience. And I got to meet Tom DeLonge from the band Blink-182. That was super fun. And I didn't want to go up to him fanboying out, but I had to go up to him in like a professional business way, or not a business way, but just like a more professional, like I have something to talk to you about type of thing. And that is that because of his movie Monsters of California, the lead that was in that movie, Jack Sampson, after seeing that movie, I was like, I want him in my movie, Sicklerville, that I'm making next year. Check it out. So I went up to him and I was like, man, it was because of your movie, I'm now casting Jack Sampson in my movie. And he's like, oh, that's awesome. I'm like, well, so we were like yapping for a second. And then I also met Chino after the show, and Chino is the singer of Deftones. But anyway, so we're going to talk about this specific album because I remember hearing it. Like, I've always heard of Deftones, and I've heard their Around the Fur album, which is probably my favorite album out of all theirs. But the album that actually like threw them on like the actual map of like, yo, this band is the shit is White Pony. White Pony is the 3rd studio album by the alternative metal band Deftones, released on June 20th, 2000. It marked a significant evolution in the band's sound, pushing beyond their new metal roots into more experimental and atmospheric territory. The album incorporates a diverse array of influences, including shoegaze, new wave, and post-rock, showcasing the band's ability to blend aggressive guitar riffs with ethereal and melodic elements. I'm probably not saying like half those words right, but whatever. So the biggest song that's off this album is the song Change in the House of Flies. Change is obviously a good song, do not get me wrong. But, I mean, I like that song, don't get me wrong. And actually, I told Fred, the bass player, because he's a new addition into the band after the loss of their bass player, Chi, who passed away. I told Fred, I was like, Change is obviously a good song, do not get me wrong. But this was like the first time hearing it live with a new bass like put on it, and it like brought like a whole new life to the song. And I was like, dude, it's just like it hit me. I like the song again now. I like listening to the song again now. On a music standpoint, on a personal standpoint, I do not like the song at all, because it was a song that we actually played at my dad's funeral live. My dad's funeral was like a rock show. We played like 3 songs. There was like music blasting and stuff. It was just all music that that my dad liked. But yeah, like Deftones is one of my dad's favorite bands before he passed. So we played that song live. And let's talk about some of the key tracks. Change in the House of Flies, the album's most famous track, known for its haunting atmosphere and Chino Marino's evocative vocals. It captures themes of transformation, loss, and betrayal, contributing to the album's dark, introspective feel. The next song, Passenger, a standout collaboration with Tool's Maynard James Keenan. This song explores themes of duality and relinquishing control. Keenan's guest vocals complement Marino's, creating an immersive and tense listening experience. Passenger is a dope song, and it's also about, I mean, who knows what it's actually about, because you never really know, but what you get from the internet is what you get. But this song's actually about like getting oral from a hitchhiker. And it's just funny that it's just like 2 dudes singing it. So I'm like, hell yeah. Love that. Digital Bath, one of the more melodic and lush tracks on the album, known for its dreamy quality and cryptic lyrics that Marino has said are meant to evoke dark imagery. Knife Party, another key track featuring haunting operatic style vocals by guest singer Rodleen Getzik. I don't think I said that right. Knife Party's a wild one. Knife Party's also just like a dope title for like, I don't know, I kind of want to name a movie Knife Party. Welcome to Knife Party. Who lives, who dies? This is like, so around the first, like, where do I begin with this? Let's also begin with that. I don't know if it was their first two. I think this album too was under Maverick Records, which Madonna like owned or some shit. I don't know if she owned it, but like ran it. She started it up, whatever. So that's always just fun and interesting. But obviously, like Deftones' first two albums, Adrenaline and Around the Fur, those two were very nu metal sounding. Obviously, going in with other bands like Korn. I wouldn't even say like Limp Bizkit, but Limp Bizkit. But yeah, exactly. Like this album really stretched them to a totally different degree. Like it kept like that nu metal vibe, but just like you could tell that this band was way more into other stuff. Just because like even just like a lot of like, you know, the guitar riffs, they're way different. There's more melodies going on in this album and stuff. Let's talk about some rare trivia though. Let's dive into why and the potential that this album just has and just constantly gives. The collaboration with Tool's frontman Maynard James Keenan on Passenger happened organically. Keenan, a friend of the band, visited the studio and Moreno suggested he contribute. Keenan agreed, recording his parts over a few sessions, adding a layer of mystique and depth to the track. At this time, I think like Tool may have, like they were just maybe probably being on the rise too with like their Anima album. May have been around the same time. I forget when that album came out. It wasn't like, oh, the Tool singer is on this album. It was just like, who is this guy from the band Tool? And it added such like a different, so diverse of like just, you know, the going back and forth of the singing and stuff. There's actually there's a couple good live versions you can find online nowadays. Like I think Hayley Williams from Paramore did one with Deftones at like a festival and stuff. And I was like, oh, like that one was really good. And I think there's one with the dude from Rise Against. Like he did one too. That was also really good. White Pony marked the first time Deftones heavily incorporated electronic elements and samples, showcasing DJ Frank Delgado as an official member. This change was a departure from the band's earlier, more straightforward metal sound and contributed to the album's more textured and layered feel. This album, it really sticks out on. There's a lot of songs in Deftones, which I believe the Deftones self-titled album was after this one. That actually might be one of my favorite Deftones records. Now I'm thinking about it, but there's a lot of songs that like I feel like the mixes buried the synths and stuff like that and all the layers to the point where I never realized that there was like a synth going on during like one song until I like watched it live, listened to it live. And then would go back and then you actually hear it. And it's like, oh, wow, it's like, it's really buried in there. It's never like forefront. But this album, there's a lot of more forefronting situations than I would say maybe any of their other albums. The closing track, Pink Maggot, laid the groundwork for the song Back to School, Mini Maggot, which was a rap rock single added to a re-release of the album due to label pressure. Though it helped boost sales, the band was not fond of its inclusion, feeling it compromised the original album's integrity. Which is also funny because it was like the lead single off this album, but it was like such an afterthought of doing this song. And yeah, I remember reading years ago that Back to School song, like it was just like, I don't know if it was like intended to just be a B-side or not on the album at all, but like it was one of those like, hey, we need to go back and make a single. Because I mean, if you do actually listen to the album, there's not really a single. I mean, Change was probably the biggest single, but like that's even an unconventional single for, you know, a rock band. And also it was like one of the last tracks on the record. I always find it interesting when there is a single off of a record that's like the last track on the record. And also there's a lot of lyrics that I believe were just like quickly put together. Like there's a lot of like, I think it was like KRS-One lyrics are in like Back to School lyrics and stuff. And there's like kind of like just Pete like Frankensteining like different lyrics to make like its own lyrics. The term White Pony can refer to various things, such as a street slang for cocaine or a metaphor for something elusive. Chino Moreno has described it as representing dreams and desires that are just out of reach. I'm going to go ahead and say that it probably represents cocaine. The album's lead single, Elite, won the Grammy Award for Best Metal Performance in 2001. The song stands out from the rest of the album due to its aggressive, straightforward metal sound, contrasting with the more experimental tracks. That song's sick. The song is awesome. That song kicks some ass. That was like my hype song to go running for like the longest time. And the lyrics are pretty wild. Moreno adopted a more melodic singing approach for much of White Pony, contrasting with his earlier screamed vocals. This change highlighted the band's willingness to explore softer, more introspective soundscapes, giving the album a greater emotional range. That's why I think this album really threw them on the map, because it opened up so many different doors, and it also like really started to explore more of just like Chino's like favorite bands, like The Cure, and drawing a blank on some other bands from like that are like The Cure. Why can I not, like The Smiths and stuff like that. So it really brought a whole new aspect to the band. But also, like, that being said, like there's that, everybody knows the memes that have float around online now, and there's just so many memes in general of just like it's just sex music or some shit, you know what I mean? Like, which it's just so funny. Like, so many women love Deftones, like a whole different reason and stuff, and it's kind of funny. But yeah, there's so many memes that are floating around because of like the way that Chino sings on certain songs, like the you know, the whispery vocal stuff. Anyway, I'm not gonna dive more into that, but, and it was also even in like, you can hear there was like a formulation in Around the Fur where it's like you could tell that this band has more to offer. That's why this album, like, I kind of can't say it enough, but that's why I think like White Pony really put them on a different map due to the vocal change and the more, I won't even say it's poppy, but it's like it has like a poppier type vibe than Around the Fur and Adrenaline. Unlike previous albums where guitarist Stephen Carpenter wrote many of the main riffs, White Pony saw more collaborative songwriting. This approach allowed for greater experimentation and blending of genres, with bassist Chi Cheng contributing significantly to the album's dynamic feel. The album's blend of metal and atmospheric rock influenced a generation of bands that followed, inspiring artists who sought to blend aggression with ambience. The success of White Pony encouraged many in the metal scene to incorporate more diverse sounds and textures. As I've said multiple times now, I think that this album, it literally opened up doors for just the band itself, but also it gave other artists, metal artists, like, oh, we can go do that, you know, like it reassured that was okay to do. And also it's so interesting, like, and this is why like I always think that like Deftones is like, they're not the godfather of like, and I'm not like saying that they're old or anything like that, but that's why I feel like that they are kind of like, they're the ones that really opened up doors for younger bands. And there's so many bands that you can talk to, or just even creative people that love the band Deftones, because it's great, like it is great background music to throw on, and like their albums are always just like a wave of emotion. So like I wrote so many screenplays to Deftones, honestly. But also it's so interesting to know how much this band has grown throughout the years. Like, I remember seeing them at the Electric Factory in Philadelphia, and that was like one of the first times, if not the first time I saw them live, was at this venue. That venue only holds maybe like 3,000 people, something like that. And now I just saw them play at the Padres like stadium. Like, I literally was having this conversation with someone the other day about Blink-182, like, so wild that they're selling out stadiums now. And like, I remember seeing them at like playing at like, you know, in front of 5,000 people when I was younger. So it's just crazy that these bands, like, they're really holding on, and they continue to just progress and find ways to expand to an audience. White Pony has been widely recognized as one of the most influential rock albums of the 2000s. Its experimental nature not only elevated Deftones to critical acclaim, but also helped pave the way for alternative metal and post-metal bands. The album's rich textures, haunting themes, and bold departure from mainstream nu metal trends helped establish Deftones as innovators in their genre. To this day, White Pony remains a defining work in the band's discography and a touchstone for fans of heavy experimental music. A lot of people give Chino, I mean, they're, you know, they always look at the front man, you know, but like, give respect to Carpenter, who, you know, is the guitar player, crushes it. Give respect to Abe, the drummer, who, my God, like, that dude, like, pounds on his kit. I love it. Give respect to Chi, who, yeah, his bass lines and stuff. Give respect to Delgado, who really added a whole new element to this band. And now, you know, the band, they've switched players throughout the years, just, you know, mainly just because of Chi's passing. But yeah, I mean, they're just one of those bands. If you don't know who Deftones is, like, I would say maybe start with the White Pony record. If not, maybe start with Diamond Eyes, which I think is like, I know I said Around the Fur. I started off by saying Around the Fur was one of the best albums of theirs. And then I went to, their self-titles might be one of their best albums. And now I'm thinking like, damn, maybe Diamond Eyes is one of their best albums. It's tough. They really have so many great albums, and White Pony being one of them. Now I know I always say that that's it for this talk on this band and this album. Maybe I'll even revisit another one of their albums if this is something that I find fun to do. But there's other albums I want to like touch base on and let other people know about. I'm not saying like I have this huge, I got a bunch of people watching and I'm trying to tell them what they don't know, but I don't know, maybe we'll do this again another time.